I truly believe we're witnessing the biggest shift in power in human history, and most people don't even realize it yet. Wars aren't just fought over land anymore. The real battle is happening in cyberspace, in algorithms, in digital infrastructures that dictate the way we live, work, and think. The world isn't just being controlled, it's being engineered, built from the ground up by superpowers competing to define the rules of this new digital era. If you don't understand how this works, you risk living in a world designed by others, without even knowing who's pulling the strings. So let's break it down, because whether we like it or not, the future is being built right now. The rise of the digital age has ushered in a fundamental shift in how power is perceived, exercised, and maintained. The battle lines are no longer drawn on geographical maps, but are etched in the virtual landscapes of cyberspace. Control over physical territory, while still relevant, is increasingly being superseded by the pursuit of digital dominance. Nations are now vying for control over the very infrastructure of the digital world, the intricate networks, platforms, and technologies that underpin our increasingly interconnected lives. This paradigm shift is not merely a technological evolution, but a profound geopolitical transformation. The digital realm has become an arena where nations compete for influence, shape narratives, and project power in unprecedented ways. The ability to control the flow of information, manipulate algorithms, and dominate emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and quantum computing is rapidly becoming the defining feature of geopolitical power in the 21st century. Let's unpack how superpowers are fighting for control, not with armies, but with data, AI, and digital infrastructure. But what does this mean for you, your privacy, and the new world order? From the battle for digital infrastructure to cyber warfare and information wars, we're breaking down the biggest power struggles where we are just data and numbers.
The digital realm, once a niche domain of technologists and early adopters, has now permeated every facet of human society. As nations grapple with the implications of this digital revolution, a new set of geopolitical imperatives is emerging. The control of data, the establishment of digital sovereignty, and the ability to navigate the complexities of cyberspace have become paramount concerns for governments around the world. The traditional tools of statecraft, military might, economic sanctions, and diplomatic maneuvering, while still relevant, are being augmented and in some cases even superseded by the tools of the digital age. Cyber warfare, once the realm of science fiction, has emerged as a potent and ever-present threat. Nations are investing heavily in their cyber capabilities, developing sophisticated tools and strategies to defend their critical infrastructure, conduct espionage, and even disrupt the operations of their adversaries. The interconnected nature of the digital world means that the potential consequences of cyber attacks are no longer limited to the virtual realm but can have real-world implications, impacting everything from financial markets to power grids to the integrity of democratic elections. The rise of artificial intelligence adds another layer of complexity to this evolving geopolitical landscape. AI has the potential to revolutionize warfare, automate decision-making processes, and reshape the global economy. Nations that are able to harness the power of AI will undoubtedly gain a significant strategic advantage, while those that fall behind risk becoming increasingly marginalized in the emerging global order.
Now let's take a quick look at how we ended up in this polarized, simulated geopolitical world. But how did you land in the advent of nuclear weapons, ushered in an era of unparalleled tension and uncertainty? The world found itself locked in a bipolar standoff, divided between the capitalist West, led by the United States, and the communist bloc, spearheaded by the Soviet Union. Both superpowers possessed arsenals of unimaginable destructive power, capable of wiping out entire civilizations in a matter of hours. The traditional rules of engagement, the calculated risks of conventional warfare, seemed to evaporate in the face of this existential threat. The concept of mutually assured destruction, MAD, emerged as the grim but strangely stabilizing doctrine of this new age. The logic was chillingly simple. Any nuclear attack would inevitably provoke a retaliatory strike, resulting in the annihilation of both aggressor and defender. The very horror of this scenario, the unthinkable consequences of a nuclear exchange, became a paradoxical deterrent, a macabre dance on the edge of oblivion. This uneasy stalemate, however, did not signify an end to geopolitical competition. Instead, the rivalry between the superpowers took on new forms, shifting from the battlefields of Europe and Asia to the realms of ideology, espionage, technological innovation, and proxy wars fought in distant corners of the globe. The nuclear age had frozen the traditional game of territorial conquest, but it had ignited a new and even more complex game of global chess. The Cold War was more than just a military standoff. It was a clash of ideologies. The United States championed capitalism, while the Soviet Union advocated for communism. This struggle influenced global affairs, from economic policies to scientific endeavors. Both superpowers poured resources into propaganda. The Voice of America and Radio Moscow broadcasted their ideologies. Films, music, and literature became tools of persuasion. Television intensified this ideological battle. The Kennedy-Nixon debates captivated audiences worldwide. Television made the Cold War more immediate and personal. Section 5. Reaching for the Stars, the Space Race and the Dawn of the Digital Frontier.
On October 4, 1957, the world watched in astonishment as the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite, into orbit. The event sent shockwaves through the United States, shattering the perception of American technological superiority and igniting a fierce competition for supremacy in space. The space race, a dramatic and highly visible manifestation of the Cold War rivalry, had begun. The space race was more than just a symbolic contest. It was a proving ground for cutting-edge technologies with profound implications for both military and civilian applications. Rockets designed to launch satellites could also deliver nuclear warheads. Guidance systems developed for spacecraft had obvious military value. The miniaturization of electronics, essential for fitting complex instruments into compact spacecraft, had far-reaching implications for the development of computers and other digital technologies. The United States, initially trailing the Soviets in the space race, poured massive resources into its space program, determined to surpass its rival. NASA, established in 1958, spearheaded the American effort, mobilizing some of the brightest minds in science and engineering. The Apollo program, with its audacious goal of landing a man on the moon before the end of the decade, became a national obsession, capturing the imagination of people around the world. The space race, while driven by Cold War competition, had a profound and lasting impact on human civilization. It accelerated technological innovation, leading to advancements in rocketry, materials, science, computing, and telecommunication. It expanded our understanding of the universe and our place within it, and it inspired generations of scientists, engineers, and dreamers, reminding us of the boundless possibilities of human ingenuity and the importance of pushing the boundaries of knowledge and exploration.
Section 6, The Dragon Awakens, China's re-emergence on the global stage.
The disintegration of the Soviet Union in 1991 left a void in global power. The United States emerged as the sole superpower, its influence pervasive, yet a new narrative began to unfold. China, with its storied past, was re-emerging. Awakening from a century of humiliation, China embarked on an ambitious journey.
China's rise in the late 20th century was remarkable. Under Deng Xiaoping, China embraced economic reforms. This led to unprecedented growth, transforming China into a global powerhouse.
China's re-emergence was a geopolitical earthquake. Its economic might grew along with its political influence and ambitions. The world watched as China's dragon awakened.
China's rise to global prominence has coincided with the explosive growth of the internet and the digital economy. Recognizing the transformative power of these technologies, China's leaders have pursued a dual strategy, embracing the economic opportunities of the digital age while simultaneously asserting tight control over the flow of information and the development of a domestic digital ecosystem that aligns with its authoritarian political system. This approach, often described as cyber sovereignty or the Great Firewall, has led to the creation of a parallel digital universe within China, one that is both deeply integrated with the global internet and yet distinct from it in fundamental ways.
China's internet, home to over 1 billion users, is a vibrant and dynamic space, teeming with e-commerce platforms, social media networks, and digital payment systems that rival, and in some cases even surpass, their Western counterparts. Companies like Alibaba, Tencent, and Huawei have emerged as global tech giants, challenging the dominance of Silicon Valley and reshaping the landscape of the digital economy. Yet this thriving digital ecosystem exists within the carefully constructed confines of China's Great Firewall, a sophisticated system of censorship and surveillance that blocks access to foreign websites, filters online content, and monitors the online activities of its citizens.
China's approach to internet governance has been met with criticism from Western governments and human rights groups, who view it as a form of digital authoritarianism that stifles free speech, limits access to information, and enables mass surveillance. China, however, defends its approach as essential for maintaining social stability, protecting national security, and promoting its own model of internet governance, one that prioritizes state control over individual liberties.
This clash of values and visions for the future of the internet has become a defining feature of the geopolitical rivalry between China and the West. As technologies such as artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and 5G networks become increasingly central to economic prosperity, national security, and the very fabric of our societies, the battle for technological dominance and the control of the digital domain is only likely to intensify in the years to come. The stakes are high, and the outcome of this digital struggle will have profound implications for the balance of power in the 21st century and beyond.
The 21st century has witnessed a profound shift in the nature of resources and the dynamics of power. Data has emerged as the lifeblood of the digital age, shaping the modern economy, national security, and societal control.
The ability to collect, analyze, and leverage vast troves of data defines national power, influencing economic competitiveness and military strategy.
Social media, e-commerce, and IoT have created a digital gold rush, attracting governments and corporations eager to extract value.
Algorithms mine data, identifying patterns and making predictions, shaping outcomes in unimaginable ways.
This data-driven paradigm redefines resources, power balance, and global engagement rules. Nations with vast data reserves and technological prowess shape narratives, influence public opinion, and predict adversaries' actions.
Controlling data flow and access has become a strategic imperative in the struggle for global dominance.
The digital resource wars are marked by cooperation, competition, national interests, corporate ambitions, and technological innovation. Governments enact data localization laws to keep valuable data within borders and assert control.
Tech giants navigate regulations, geopolitical tensions, and ethical considerations. The battle for data supremacy will shape the digital age and power balance for decades.
The digital revolution has transformed resources, economic power, and warfare. Cyberwarfare is now a potent threat, involving espionage, sabotage, and disruption. The interconnected digital world creates new vulnerabilities.
Critical infrastructure and sensitive data are exposed to attacks. Nations are investing in cyber defenses and offensive capabilities. The line between offense and defense is often blurred. Cyber warfare is a complex challenge for national security.
As we delve deeper into the digital age, a new frontier of geopolitical competition is emerging, one that promises to be even more transformative and potentially destabilizing than anything we have witnessed before: the rise of artificial intelligence.
The stakes are high, and the choices we make today will determine whether AI ushers in an era of unprecedented progress and prosperity, or one marked by instability, inequality, and even existential threats.
As we stand at the cusp of a new era, the traditional paradigms of geopolitics are being rewritten before our very eyes.
The quest for power has shifted to the control of digital ecosystems where data flows like rivers and algorithms reign supreme.
Nations mastering digital tools will shape the future in profound ways.
The battle lines are drawn in server farms and AI labs, where technology's power is honed.
The digital age brings challenges and uncertainties, including potential conflicts and privacy erosion. The erosion of privacy, the spread of misinformation, and the weaponization of technology are all very real dangers that must be acknowledged and addressed.
Yet amidst these challenges, there is also immense opportunity. The digital revolution has the potential to connect us in unprecedented ways, to empower individuals, to foster innovation, and to create a more equitable and sustainable world.
The question is not whether we embrace or resist this digital transformation, for it is already upon us, shaping our lives in ways both subtle and profound.
The real question is how we choose to navigate this uncharted territory, how we harness the power of technology while mitigating its risks, and how we ensure that the digital world we create reflects our shared values and aspirations.
The future, as always, remains unwritten. But one thing is certain: the architects of the digital age will wield immense power, and the choices they make will determine the fate of nations and the course of human history for generations to come.